Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Mike T-Roy is here.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I am just lovely.
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh, this is an exciting day.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love Mondays.
My former partner on the beat, when I was at the mean streets of Redford.
Yeah.
I did a ride-along. Same thing.
Absolutely.
Mike Cracchiola's here. His brother Chris is down in San Diego now. He's in town. And these are the baddest two dudes I know. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good to be here, man.
Awesome, man.
How are you guys?
Dude, sunny Michigan, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, sunny, gray Michigan.
We'll change
little-
pace on the weather
A little
there.
change from San Diego.
I saw a cloud today. I was happy about it. It was good.
Yeah. First time you've seen that in a couple of years?
Yeah.
You guys remember you made me a promise years ago. And that promise was when the world falls to shit, which it's doing now,
Yeah.
I get to run with your crew.
You know what?
I bring nothing to the table. I'm basically useless.
Entertainment purposes only.
Entertainment purposes only, but you can't leave me behind. Do you
You know,
remember making that promise?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as the power goes out
Yeah.
and it turns into, Walking Dead outside.
Yeah.
We got a spot for you.
Okay,
That'll be
good. I'm going to lag behind.
That's fine.
I'm not going to be able to do anything really, but
We had that conversation a while back. He was like, you'd be fine. If push comes to shove, you can hunt, you can kill, you can build shit, you can make fire, you can do all that stuff. He's like, I'd be fucked. I was like, no, you'd be fine.
Yeah, we
He's
were
like, how?
talking
I'm
about-
like, because you'll talk somebody into doing it for you.
Oddly enough, with Callis, my buddy yesterday, we were talking about this because he's got some property. And, honest to God, remember the blackout 2000 time frame?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That was
I
like-
went to San Diego that day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I flew to San Diego.
No.
And missed it.
That was like
It was like
24
8 days, you mean? 7 days or something?
I don't even remember. I remember the first 24 hours, no gas. Like people immediately
Yeah.
go like, shit, we just went through COVID and people bought toilet. I still don't know why people bought fucking toilet paper. Like,
Yeah.
why? But like the shelves will go empty and people will go nuts.
Yeah, that's like the one commodity. It didn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah,
You know,
my brother
shit
did
from
that.
COVID. Like what happened there? Yeah.
My brother ordered toilet paper from China.
Oh,
And these rolls were worse than the ones you see in the shittiest gas station where it's like
just paper thin.
so paper thin. And it didn't even have a cardboard thing. It was about this big around. And it was just paper rolled really tight. It was like,
How do you get that from China? I thought that shit was all shut down.
I don't know. It was early.
All right.
It was early.
Yeah, just steal it from work like the rest of us did.
Yeah.
You know? Fuck.
Right? Yeah, but he was
Take
married.
half a
He
roll
wasn't
just to
going
get one
into work.
wipe. I don't think you're saving any money there.
Yeah. So how are the Marines doing these days, my friend?
They're
yeah.
they're savages. I love them.
They're the most savage of all the groups.
They're animals. They're don't get me wrong. Like there's tier 1 stuff out there that is they're doing just the Lord's work in parts of the world that we're not going to admit to being in. But your standard run of the mill straight leg infantry guy is God bless them. Like they're absolute savages. Most of them are, they're made out of they don't get hurt a lot. These kids are like 19 and indestructible. I love 0331 guns up. We in the grunt world we have several MOSs, but you got an 11 that is like your 0311, standard issued grunt. That dude I want them next to me in a gunfight, and I don't necessarily want them anywhere around my kids, but they're great. We got a battalion right now of, we went from a BLT of 1,400 to a battalion back down after the deployment.
What's
to
BLT?
man.
You're gonna code me to death.
There's going to be
Already has.
We'll calm it down on acronyms. When you're in a workup for a MU, specifically a MU is a Marine Expeditionary Unit, you're going to go on ship with the Navy, and you're just going to kind of be like a 911 force around the world in case anything goes wrong. So you become you're a battalion no matter what. I'm in 1-1, so 1st Battalion, 1st Marines, out in Pendleton in San Diego. So that battalion is typically about 1,000 people. And then when you chop 6 months before a MU, and you take on a bunch of other entities, like an LAR company, light armor reconnaissance. You take on engineers, a battery, artillery, and then you become a BLT, and that's about 1,400 people. So with a BLT, we could do some damage with those guys.
Making me hungry.
Yeah.
Tea sounds delicious.
What does damage look like?
I would put that BLT against, I don't care, against anybody.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. It's a lot of training for sure, and it's a lot of time in the field. It's a ton of time away from your family. Before you even chop, it's a bitch of a workup, no matter what. We have METs, like mission essential tasks we have to do. You're coded from 1,000 to 7,000 level skills, from the individual all the way through battalion level skills. and then you chop and you end up having to do stuff as a BLT on ship several times. So you have RUT, realistic urban training, then you have PMINT, ARGMUX, COMP2X. It's 3 at sea periods on ship, on the ships you're going to deploy with the Navy, doing a bunch of evaluated stuff. And if you don't do well, like, hey, spoiler alert, you're still going to deploy. But like,
Yeah.
It's a big deal. If you don't pass CERTX, you're going out again for a 4th one. So when you're doing a MEU, you're generally gone for about 11 months or so at sea.
What are 1,000 guys like that tuned up? 11 months out at sea. Like,
Oh my God.
that's got to be the craziest, most fucking alpha.
It's something else.
11,000 guys and about a dozen women.
Like, oh God. we had 5 or 6 girls. Also phenomenal grunts. We have, we have a couple of engineers who are females, and then by and large, it's just like 1,400 dudes. And then there's like 3 kinds of Navy. Shout out to the Navy. God bless them. I love the Navy. But there's like submarine Navy we don't deal with. They're like...
You deal with pilots?
They're amazing. Like the subs are great. Then there's like carrier strike groups. That's like all naval aviators and all
My
Navy.
dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like God bless those guys. They're doing amazing work and they're super professional. And then there's the Gator Navy and the Gator L-class ships. Like there's an LSD small deck, an LPD mid deck, and an LHD big deck. I was on the LHD2, the Essex. Those ships are 3 that go out with, probably about 3,000 people, give or take. And you're more or less just going straight to 5th Fleet, like we did. So we go to CENTCOM, which is like the Middle East. That's where the work was at the time. You spend some time like Indo-Pacific, and then you end up back in 3rd Fleet, which is like the Hawaii area on the way home. But we pretty much burned 20 knots straight west just to get to where we were going, just to do what we were supposed to do. And for a lot of the guys down in the berthing, like it's boring. There's a lot of times where the boys are not training. And that is just a devil's playground. They do stuff that I'm in a room with my boss. Like we happen to be on the big deck and he wanted me with him. So hard for me to bitch. Like I have my own room and most staterooms for captains are like 4 to a room. I'm a major. He's a lieutenant colonel. We have our own room. And then we have an office, a joint office. We also have a joint head, which is like super rare. So we have a shower. So like, again, I can't bitch. Someone's probably listening to this like, fuck you, man. Like,
Yeah, I don't want to hear it.
But the boys downstairs are like, dude, there's 6 like racks. It's like, it's ridiculous. So they're also 2nd-class citizens because they're not in the Navy. So like the Navy owns the ships. Yeah, granted, they're driving us to where we need to go.
So you mean the Marines aren't?
Yeah, the Marines are
Navy.
the Marines are 2nd-class citizens to the Navy. It's their ship. It's their show. Granted, they're supporting us getting to where we need to go. It's still their stuff. Like it's still theirs.
Yeah.
They still have to run, own, operate the ship. And it is kind of nerve-wracking when you're in the middle of nowhere, like where the USS Indy sank, like between like Guam and Leyte Gulf. That's cool that the water's 80 degrees. If something happens though, like you're surviving for less than 4 days in that water. Like if the sharks don't get you, drinking salt water will seem like a good idea. Like it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And you got JOs, you got junior naval officers running the ship. And those JOs, you have a million sailors who are just doing God's work year-round, day in, day out, shit work, and they're good at it. But the person at the in the bridge is a junior officer, like running the OOD, like running the deck.
Yeah.
And that is like,
That sounds crazy.
Can we put a senior person? Like, God damn it! It's
Yeah.
But I love the SWO community. Like, they're amazing surface warfare officers. It's more or less like a floating airport. We had several Ospreys, like the tilt rotors.
They're badass.
I love them. Yeah. They're great. I spent a ton of time in Ospreys and a Nottingham bird. That's just like a network on the move bird. So I'll C2 something, like command and control something from the sky in a Nottingham bird. We got skids, so your Hueys, like NOM era Hueys, but they're double engines, so they're newer. They're not single engine Hueys like they used to be. We got Cobras. Like if you see Putin's shit lined up on a street, like a Cobra pilot would just all day rock.
I called for that.
Oh my God.
When that was like
Just
a 44-mile
yeah.
convoy, I'm like, why don't you, it's on a T. Why don't you just, old school NOM, carpet bomb, napalm, that shit, just line them up.
Every Cobra pilot I know would just love it.
Really?
And we're talking skids. You put like Harriers in the mix or an F-35, like I'm not gonna say like F-35s are incredible. So like they can shoot whatever they want. It doesn't matter. You're not hitting the goddamn F-35, and that thing is going to do some damage from so high up and so far away. By the time they realize it, they'll be dead anyways. So I love our aircraft. I love our pilots, and they're just incredibly smart people who are achievement-based human beings, and that's all they do. They just want to achieve, and that's why I love them. So.
Yeah. Does it frustrate military guys? Settle down, Caesar.
Oh, Bruce.
Does it frustrate military guys seeing what's going on in Ukraine with Russia?
Yeah, we just lost a Marine over there. A guy who had gotten out. His last name was Cancel. He was a junior enlisted Marine. He went over there to fight after he got out.
Just volunteered.
Guys did that stuff with the Kurds. They did that stuff in Mosul. They just want to fight. A lot of guys get in the Marine Corps. You have needs, wants, motivators. Guys get in for whatever reason. A lot of them just want to fight. Yeah. And I love them for it.
I wonder if the video game culture that exploded in the early 2000s.
Yeah, and I'm sure for
contributed to that. I wonder how many guys are surprised by the reality of it. Like they've been playing,
Call of Duty,
first-person shooter games for 20 years,
shooter
10
games,
years.
Yep.
and then they get on the ground. And it's like, oh shit,
this
is way more real.
It's not the same. You're definitely not responding. But like when we joined, we knew where we were going. Like all of our instructors were Iraq guys, and then when we got there, it was all Afghan. The Iraq pumps were generally over in like 2008. So it was more or less like back to back to like you're just going to keep doing that pump. And it was awesome because, it wasn't awesome. Like Tale of Two Cities, like good times, bad times. But by and large, like our mission was bring security to a population that is generally terrorized by the Taliban. That was it. So you're going to do security patrols and you're going to have a mission statement. But in reality, we're just going to go hunt humans. And that's it. That's all we're doing every day. And
so you're trying to hunt them in the mountains?
We didn't have mountains. I was in the fish tank. I was in Sangin. So less mountains. Once you get up to like Kajaki and then certainly northern Afghan, you got mountains. But then one of your kids gets hurt and then it's like, okay. And then but you can't cross a line ever. So no matter what, we can never do. We're not going
rules of engagement. You have to abide by. That's what separates us from the rest.
You have to. And if it was just,
all right. Yeah. For the most part.
Sure.
For the most part, there's examples.
For sure. You can pick any out. But honest to God, like you're trying to help a local population that is generally being influenced by murder and intimidation. And then.
So what does that mean? It looks like a dusty third world shithole.
Buddy,
me. It looks like out of a fucking Star Wars movie.
It is. It's Tatooine.
It's Tatooine, right?
I first stepped off a fucking bird. The sand, the dust was called. I was like nothing I've ever seen. It's like powder. It was like a cloud. Poof.
We always joke.
What is that?
If you turned a corner at where we were at in Sangin and you saw like a goddamn velociraptor, you'd be like, okay, that checks out. Yeah. There's a dinosaur here. Why wouldn't there be?
Yeah.
But it was.
So what are they getting from them? So Afghan leaders go into this town of nothing that has nothing. They're herding goats.
Yeah.
And pressures them how?
So they'll leave night letters, or they'll. It was tough when you kill a kid who's like 15 and that person's laying in an ID and. Did you just kill a cell leader? Probably not. You killed an emplacer. Okay, had to die anyways, but you didn't.
Why did he have to die?
That dude's
because he's strapped with
he
something?
Would be one day.
What he's doing.
Oh yeah.
You got hostile act, hostile intent, and PID. You got positive identification of him doing something wrong. If you shoot that kid and the paddy wagon comes in any shape or form, if it's a tractor or whatever, you're not shooting the Kazovac vehicle. So you're just killing enemy combatants. That's it. And they'll intimidate the local population because the number one thing that they're harvesting there is poppy. It's everywhere. It's as far as the eye could see. It's very frustrating that you allow it to happen. We're not doing anything to that poppy. I'm not lighting fields on fire. I'm not doing any of that stuff.
Yeah. So this is how they make heroin.
That's it. Yeah.
For those that don't know.
And it funds the Taliban. So our job was, you just go out and eventually someone will shoot at you and it's a great day because all you have to do is pull the chain back of the animals that you're with because they just want to fight.
They're waiting for the excuse.
Just
green light.
It's a lot worse.
So once someone engages, then it's like, oh, hell yeah.
You're an idiot. Yeah. You shouldn't have done that. Because all I had, am I shooting when I was a platoon commander when I was there, I was a lieutenant. So am I shooting? Maybe, maybe not. But am I calling in skids? Yes.
What's a skid again?
You got Cobras or Hueys. So in
Airstrikes, basically.
yeah, you're more or less calling in aircraft to just do damage. I called a 429 strike package one time because I stepped on something I shouldn't have. I was in a place I shouldn't have been. And
I need to hear more about that.
there were, you know what, dude? It was like
Sorry.
I told my wife about this not that long ago. I was in a building. We had just called HIMARS on a group of dudes. There's a thing called a G-Boss. A G-Boss is so gross, man. A G-Boss is on a trailer. It's like an arm that goes up and there's a pod on top. It's about $600,000. And you have a G-Boss monitor in your COC, in your operations center. You could watch G-Boss feeds and see some of the grossest things all night. You could see.
Why?
Because their guys are fucking goats.
No.
Oh yeah. Buddy. That's when they're taking a break from like kids. So anyways, Man Love Thursday was alive and well when we were there.
Oh my God.
But the
Dudes are fucking goats in the field a lot?
Yes, buddy.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the boys.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
that was a Thursday thing. So
Okay.
we see from my COC, I was in the fish tank, and we see like a diamond formation running. Afghans don't jog. They're not out for like a midnight run. They're laying in wire and they're putting IDs in. So I call in HIMARS, and then they just disappear. And so HIMARS is a telephone pole of high explosives. So that's going and shooting out and going as far as, I mean, it's far.
Miles?
It's, yeah. And then coming straight down. And like, we could snap a G-Boss and pause it, because the last thing you see is a dude
turn.
stop, and then, yeah. And then, and don't make your like Facebook feed. So that ends up becoming a place where we have to do a BDA, like a battle damage assessment. And you go down there the next morning, and it turned into like, how many did we get? I don't know. I have a garbage bag though, so we're going to collect left feet, and then I could tell how many are here. So
That's what it does to the human body?
yeah, they're just gone.
Gone.
So there's a building. It was building 2. Go back to uniform. I'll never forget it. And we had a cordon set up, and we were doing a BDA. And I was like, you know what? Every time something happens in this area, like 1 X-ray 2 uniform, it's always right here. And there's a goat trail, and they ride dirt bikes. They come in on dirt bikes. And then there's a building, and I'm like, I bet you this is a small building. Like there's a courtyard, there's a corner building, there's an outhouse kind of deal. And I'm like, I bet you they have components in there. And so by myself, I'm like, you always crawl on like walls, and then the roofs are kind of like domes, sort of, that have a flat side. And this particular roof I was on, it kind of went down and up, and there was a little bit of rubble. And so I'm walking, and I got guys right here. We're fine. You know, I'm just by myself on this roof. And I know it's an abandoned compound. And I ended up stepping on something, and the ground kind of, and I know what I just did. And
What did you just do?
it wasn't dirt. I mean, you're stepping on dirt, but the ground moved. And I knew that, like, I've never been nervous like that ever. And I'd stepped on one that wasn't rigged up properly, kind of thing.
Oh, an IED?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of these IEDs are 10-pound leg killers, because all you have to do is maim someone. You don't have to kill them. You're not going to waste 60 pounds of homemade explosives on someone. I moved back. We called it EOD. They had an Xbox-controlled type of robot that they moved in for that particular one. It just wasn't rigged up properly to the battery pack. That was it. Like, normally they're just pieces of wood.
Should have just been gone.
Couple carbon rods. You know, it just wasn't my day. So I was able to work up a 429 strike package with my boss, a company commander at the time, because I was a lieutenant. And then we had F-18s come in and just level it. So that building's not there anymore. And thankfully, like, no one will ever make that mistake again, the one that I made. So any Marine unit going in there after us that ripped out with us.
How did you make a mistake, though? I mean, how would you know?
You wouldn't. Normally, like, you're in a ranger file typically in an area like that, and the lead guy that's the most dangerous spot in the world. That dude is either an 0311 like sweeper or an engineer sweeper, and that guy is sweeping, and you only have you have a CMD or a Valen, and you're sweeping at a length, but you're not sweeping 8 feet away. So if they offset a battery pack 8 fucking feet away, you're not going to hit it. So in one instance, like Bishop, who's an absolute stud, I call him Miho. He's like my kid. Bishop's walking. The second guy has his hand on his rifle, but he also has shaving cream, Barbasol. It had to be Barbasol, because Barbasol is like bright. You can't use Gillette. So we'd have like pallets of Barbasol show up. The second guy's nav guy. Nav guy's telling lead guy where to go. Barbasol is on left. So like left handrail, like you're holding a handrail, and you could walk generally 4 feet to the right of that handrail. But as like the 4th, 5th guy, because you have dispersion, you're just looking for Barbasol. You know what I mean? The first guy in this case, this was Christmas Day, Bishop happened to just walk over one. He's sweeping. There's carbon rods. It didn't detect the carbon rods. He steps over it. Medina, the second time. This is the kind of savage kids that we have. God bless him. Jesse Medina got hit by a 155 about a month earlier. He gets sent to Germany or wherever the fuck he was at. He took part of his ear off. The ACMAC, the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, shows up, gives him his Purple Heart. Where do you want to go, buddy? We'll send you wherever you want to go. I want to go back. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So they send him back. Now he's got his head wrapped like he had a toothache. And he's
Like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
And he's number 2 guy. Again, Jesse, number 2 guy. It's Christmas Day. Bishop steps over that.
Ear for an ear.
Jesse steps on it on Christmas Day. So Jesse loses his leg. Bishop gets thrown forward. He comes back. His eardrums are blown out. He's patching his buddy up. Bishop's like, he's kind of tearing up. And Jesse's like, fix my fucking leg, man, or I'll bleed out. So double tourniquet, sweep an LZ on vibrate because his eardrums don't work. Sweep an LZ, set up security, get him out of there. And he's living in Texas, just he's alive.
What does that do to the crew on the ground?
It's not, dude.
It's got to be horrible.
It
awful.
is. I'm
demoralizing.
In 7 days, I'm driving to Chicago to see Mr. and Mrs. Daniels because their son. We lost Nick on November 5th, and it's this kid right here. So I'll go see his parents. I send his parents, flowers and shit every year. It's just you never really forget about that, and it's super demoralizing. But we always, if something happens, that's not the last thing that happens that day. We're gonna kick out on another goddamn patrol that night. I don't care. We're gonna go out. We're gonna win that night, and then we're gonna go back to a PB because we're not at FOBs. We're at cops and patrol base in the middle of nowhere. There's no one around.
Is it possible to train any human being with the proper training and protocols to make that kind of person? Because I look at cops, military guys, and I just go, there's no fucking way. Yeah, I spent a brief time on the beat in Redford. We all know that.
Right, yeah.
Listen, you already got your spot. We'll take you. When the lights go out, you're coming. You don't got to sell it.
Yeah, no. But I mean, it's like if I was 18 years old again and was like, fuck it, I want to be a Marine. Like, how fast would I flame out? Just being kind of a pussy and all that? Like,
Well, I mean, it depends.
Basic training.
right?
I would
would
when you
think,
wash
man.
out.
I guess it depends what your why is. If your why is strong enough, you'll stick it out.
Yeah.
If you don't have you have to have like a we mentality and not a me mentality.
I love the we mentality.
Yep.
I do. I honestly do. But I remember my dad telling me about going through in the Navy, going through the initial shit,
Basic training.
boot camp or whatever. And these guys would just fuck them up, and I don't know if that's a psyche thing. My dad was saying you could make your bed fucking perfect. Your uniform is on perfect. And be like, God damn it, look at Joe Shit the Ragman here. He would call him Joe Shit the Ragman. Well, Jesus fucking Christ, Walters. Joe Shit the Ragman, everybody. Rip the fucking bed apart and all that. And it's like, he knew he didn't do anything wrong, but was it just a mental, like...
I mean, normally, like the juniors will go to when you enlist, you're either at Paris Island or you're at MCRD San Diego. Those are the 2 spots we have boot camp. And then if you're going to be, start as a lieutenant, as an officer, you're going to OCS in Quantico. Those are not the same things. They're different and they're miserable in their own right. But boot camp's not easy. And I love the guys that go through it. And those guys will go to either down the road MCT or SOI, and they'll become infantry Marines or any other MOS. We get to pick our job on the officer side. But just because you go through OCS in Quantico, the basic school, the BOC, the basic officer course in Quantico as well, that's 6 months. You learn how to be a lieutenant. And then you end up at whatever school is for the MOS you pick. So your job is your
What's
MOS.
the MOS?
It's military occupational specialty.
Okay.
There's like 30 of them. And you pick as a lieutenant at TBS, what's your job going to be? Whatever you are passionate about. There's a thirds system. If there's 300 guys in a class, there's a top third, middle third, bottom third, and there's some algorithm shit that goes into it, but they're for quality spread. But I only wanted to be a grunt. I didn't want to do any other job. I can't tell you what the number 2 choice was. I don't care what it was.
So you wanted to be boots on the ground,
That's it.
shooting shit.
Yep. I wanted to be a grunt. And to be totally fair, I didn't know the difference between officers and enlisted. I had no idea when I was on 275 and I called 1-800-Marines because there was a billboard. And a lady asked me if I was in college. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, I'll transfer you to an OSO. Cool, man. You could transfer me to fucking Santa. I don't care. But I didn't know when I was going to Quantico that I was going to be a lieutenant. Because to me, we're the sons of police officers and there's police in our family. I thought like a lieutenant's been on the job for like 20 years. That's what a lieutenant to me is. It's not a starting position. So I realized very quickly at OCS, like you're going to start as a lieutenant. And okay.
Now, why would you start as a lieutenant and not
Education.
Because you have to, there's two things to be a lieutenant. You have to have a college degree. It doesn't matter if it's in fucking basket weaving. You could be a pilot. You have to have a college degree and you have to finish OCS. Those are the two things. So I went to OCS as a PLC combined, which just meant like you're there for 10 weeks and when you're done, you finish college and then you're off you go to TBS. And then at TBS, you pick your MOS. And if you're hard in the paint and you did well, you can get your first choice. It's not a sure shot thing though. It's a gamble for sure. I could have ended up as an artillery guy or a comm guy. Who knows? I would have burned that place to the ground. I wouldn't have. But anyways, the needs of the Marine Corps always win. So if they give you a job you don't like, too fucking bad, man. Do it better than everybody else. So I went to IOC, also in Quantico, that's infantry officer course. And then you pick a coast and they pick a base type of thing. So I picked West Coast and I got sent to, sunny 29 Palms in the desert. So that's where I spent my first 4 years. So to go back to your question about can anybody do it? Like, I don't know, if your why is strong enough, like, yeah, you can. People join the Marine Corps for all different kinds of reasons. Some people want to travel. Some guys want to get laid because of the uniform. I don't know. Like, whatever your why is, it better be stronger than those two things. General service was what our family was all about. So
I still can get that feeling in the dark, in the middle of the night, running upstairs, like, better hustle up these stairs, man. There could be someone down there. Like, I feel like the guys that are doing that shit, sneaking around, maybe someone's shooting at them. They're, like, that's just a different level of bravery.
I think what messes with some guys is when they join wanting to do that work and they don't get the chance to. That sucks. Like, that is not it. And these guys joining today, like, they might want to go punch a commie for mommy kind of thing, and they might not have the opportunity. And the advice I tell these guys, a lot of them do 4 years and get out. That's awesome, man. I love you. If you never saw combat, I still love you. If you're in the fucking National Guard and you're stationed in Michigan, I don't care. I love you. Like, I appreciate that you went to MEPS and went through the process and went to boot camp of some sort. I still love you. I don't care if you've been to combat or not. But I tell them, like, if you want to put some between someone's running lights, stick around. Like, there'll be another one coming. And I'm not sitting here praying for war, but, like, look at the news. There's always somebody,
Yeah.
There's always a chance.
It's too big a business to just go away.
Oh, yeah.
Sadly.
Too many bad
Not
people.
on your end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have job security. That's
How do you feel
for sure.
about civilians with support over there? We okay?
Yeah, Troy was an electrician on a base in Afghanistan. Does that count for anything?
Yeah, it does. Like, we want you guys to be safe. We had LEPs. We had law enforcement professionals, former cops. Those people turned into family. Another guy I know used to build stuff over there. Yeah. And it was weird because, like, that was at Leatherneck. We'd stop at Leatherneck on the way in.
Yep.
And I was there for like 4 days for like RSO and I. And then we'd go forward and then forward again. But those guys are building shit for military people to, like, a green bean coffee.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Goes a long way.
Fuck yeah, it does.
Oh, my God.
I used to go every Friday. I would go up, I'd get my coffee at the Green Bean, I'd pay with a $100 bill, and I would just say cover everybody behind me.
That's awesome, man.
And I used to get pissed because there was guys, because they did like a support soldier kind of a thing, like you could sign up on the Green Bean. And like, listen, it was not lost on me that I was making money than you guys,
Yeah.
And dudes I worked with would like sign up for that. So like people back home would send them a free coffee and shit. I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? Dude, go, you son of a bitch. I just didn't get it,
Yeah,
I had so much respect for guys. And what killed me, what really fucking shocked me when I was over there, was how young everybody is. They're fucking 18, 19, 20-year-old kids.
They don't realize.
I mean, they are kids.
Yep. Kids. When you see an 18-year-old now, it shocks me because I felt like I looked like this when I was 18.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
18-year-old is a fucking child.
And I don't need a kid. I don't need an 0311 or an 0331 or 41 or 51. Like, I don't need a guy who's 6'4" and deadlifting cars. I need a 160-pound carved out of wood little animal. And they'll hike for days. They'll carry weight. And they're just,
how much weight do they carry?
Oh, my God. I mean, okay, there's a thing called a McCree. It's the Marine Corps Combat Readiness Evaluation. It's something we'll do before we deploy. And part of the McCree standard was a pack of at least 45, which doesn't sound like a lot. You wear your kit. So now you have your kit on. You're either wearing a bucket or you're not. You're Kevlar. And the McCree hike was always at the tail end of that evaluation, it's 96 straight hours. So it's not like it's 6 weeks long, but 96 hours in the rain is not a great time. No. So people are like, oh, it's Pendleton, it's okay. Like, it's not. It's fucking pissing rain.
Yeah.
So we did ours in March. And then for our
96 straight hours. That's 4 days.
it's 4 days of just straight ops the whole time, and then you're being evaluated, and it's.
So you don't sleep at all.
I mean, you should try, but like, we typically associate sleep with weakness, which is a terrible thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like eating. Like, oh, you're gonna take time to eat?
Yeah,
Oh, we got
pussy.
time. We got
Nice
time
job,
for you,
pussy.
right? Yeah. Make sure you heat your MRE up. We got time for you. We'll bring a microwave out here. Did you get your coffee? So it's 96 hours.
Savage, man.
It's not the end of the world, but at the end of it is a 20 miler. So the standard is under 8 hours with 95% of your force completing it. So we did it as companies. And when I was a captain, I had about, I don't know, 180 guys, and then deployed, I had 252. And so that force, call it 200. You're hiking at start, someone has a clock, ready, set, go. You step off, and it was along the 5. So like where the cement tits are at over by San Clemente,
Yeah.
like the nuclear plant, like you're walking from the Polgus gate to the Basilone gate. It's 8.2 miles. You come back, it's 8.2 miles. You're at 16.4, and then you do a jiggy jog for the 20. Like I deployed with 4 toenails were gone. So I had 6 left that were functioning. That was cool. But like your feet are soaking wet. It rained for 4 days. There's only so dry you can keep your feet.
Yeah.
Like rule 1, keep yourself dry. Okay, well, when you're digging holes and stuff, like I'm not going to sit here as a major and pretend like when I was a captain I was digging holes and shit, but like you still have to be, I was by the COC, so we had cami netting, but you're still wet in fucking cami netting. And my guys are in fucking holes, sleeping. So it's not great.
Yeah.
You know, they have tarps. Cool. Those things were water resistant at best. So you have them dry their feet out, and then you start hiking. And we got everybody across the line in 7 hours and 13 minutes. Nobody fell out, and everybody just suffered. And it's just, I got a Marmoleo behind me. I remember Juan Marmoleo behind me. It was like mile 18. He's like, when are we going to start hiking? And you're just like, shut up. Like they're animals. They don't care. Like they'll jog it out. They don't give a shit. But Marmoleo was probably 5'5".
Really?
Just hiking it out. Doesn't care.
It
Animals.
could go for days.
All day. And no one dropped, that hike is not fun, but it's something like, your hike program's part of your battalion, man. And as an OPSO now, like I'm at the tail end of an OPSO tour right now. I'm the longest OPSO in the Marine Corps. Sounds cooler than it is. I'm at 33 months right now. I'll be 34-month OPSO. You're the trainer guy for the entire formation. So you have to make sure that you cover all those METs and that you do all the training and that you're certified to deploy. And then I report to one guy. That's my boss, the battalion commander, which is a job that sounds great until you're on the bag for everything that formation does or fails to do kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of pressure.
What do Marines get in trouble for the most?
Oh, my God.
Fucking chicks? Is it drinking?
Yes.
Is it drugs? Is
Yes.
it... Yeah?
We have pretty regular piss tests. If you're blowing coke because it's in your system for 3 or 4 days, which is pretty rare, to be honest, but like...
Tell that to Hunter Biden.
If you're doing it's a crack pipe, if you're doing something like that, you're kind of asking for it. There's no reason to do it. If you break faith with the institution, they're going to ADSEP you. It's a pretty administrative separation. It's a pretty quick process sometimes. Sometimes it's not. A lot of times fighting.
I imagine there's probably a lot of fights.
There's a lot of fighting.
There's probably a lot of that starts as just wrestling amongst the boys, and then
Well, yeah, you're 18.
It goes a little
You're
too far.
it goes a little too far.
you're away from home for the first time for some of these guys. They live in the barracks, and the barracks are absolute shitholes.
Yeah.
I'd call them a dumpster fire, but we have so many dumpster fires in Camp Horno that I don't want to confuse anybody. But Camp Horno, where we're at in Pendleton, it's like, what are you complaining about, man? You live in SoCal. It's like, 40% of our guys don't have cars, though. So you live in Camp Horno. You don't live in SoCal. It just happens to be there. Camp Horno is, Espanol for the oven. It's not nice. You're surrounded by mountains. Anywhere you hike, you're going up a goddamn mountain. It's not fun. And those guys live in shit barracks.
Yeah.
So if I could change one thing about the Marine Corps and wave a wand and have $1 million, I'd be like $1 billion. I would build new fucking barracks for the boys because I want their lives to be better. And I always have this joke, like, think of the training that they're doing when I'm like telling company XOs or company commanders, like, think of their training. If they got out right now, can they hit what they're aiming at? Can they go shoot with their buddies and tell them how, like, putting dope on a scope works? Can they explain how to March P, patch somebody up and save a life? Can they do that? If somebody rolls a car in front of them, can they get out and save somebody? I care about training like that. And then can they have a good time doing it? Because if they have a good time, they're going to enjoy their lives. They're going to stick around.
Why can't they get that?
Because normally, like, think of a range like we've gone to. There's a static line and you shoot guns. There's a table, you reload, you shoot more guns. That's not what we're doing. We're doing, like, wear all your shit And then the range for like a 400 series range in 29 Palms or a 210 or 220, those ranges might be like several kilometers long. And like you're not shooting on a line, you're running. And then people are shooting, people are maneuvering, people are shooting, people are maneuvering. There's artillery. There might be air on station. Like it is a break-off. So if you're practicing to do that, to make sure that another Marine doesn't shoot somebody, like you're buddy rushing down a goddamn mile-long stretch of the wilderness somewhere with all your stuff on. After a while, that's terrible for your body. It's just terrible for you. I feel every bit of 60-something right now.
Yeah.
But
You look great, though.
thanks. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
This look amazing.
Yeah.
So going back to Afghanistan, I think it was Afghanistan. The Thursdays.
Oh, yeah, Man Love Thursdays. Yeah.
Yeah. What is it called?
Man Love Thursdays
Man
is like
Love Thursdays.
That was the thing that was alive and well. There's it doesn't matter what facility you're at or some of the places you end up at. There's something called Chai Boys, and they all drink chai, and then there's some kid with like a little bit of eyeliner on walking around with a chai tray, and you know that kid's getting
taken advantage of by who?
Every dude, every guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because women are for reproducing and boys are for fun kind of thing. It's terrible.
Yeah.
If that was the only terrible thing, what a wonderful place that would be. But it's not. There's so many worse things. Like, I have a hole in my wall. I'm going to shit in my hand and patch that hole up. Like,
really?
Oh, yeah, man. And it's funny because, like, the way that they construct their homes, you could sit and dump 50 cal rounds into a house, and it would tear right through your house. You'll dent their walls. It's mud brick and shit. And they're just trying to harvest their poppy and make a dollar. And then there's the other part of the population that's just trying to absolutely kill. I mean, we went to places where you'd see like a redhead 30-something-year-old, and you're like, okay, well, the Russians were definitely here in the 80s, so we'll just do some math real quick. You know?
Yeah.
But we'd go to
Did
places.
they like you being there?
Some of them were great to us. Some of them were awesome. Is that the Proops?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cece.
Hey, bud.
Oh, jeez, asshole.
Hey,
Cece, come here.
hey, sweetheart.
Cece's got a hold of the headphone cord. Jesus Christ.
Look at that, Proops.
Look at that, Roops.
Love it.
Look at that, Roops.
Yeah, some of them were great. Most were not.
Most were not.
Most were not. Most people were. There's a lot of people who are indifferent to you being there, but you look like an alien to them. You're wearing all kinds of shit. You got stuff on your back, like a Thor or something that's jamming.
Yeah.
You just look like
a Mandalorian.
Yeah,
to them.
you're a Martian to these people.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to harvest crops or whatever the hell they're doing, and most are indifferent. There are some that are just think about it. Like, if I grew up there, we always looked up to our old man. He was a cop, service guy.
See Livonia?
Yeah, Livonia guy.
Yeah.
For 30-something years. If I just happened to live there and grow up there, and my dad was like a really good IED maker, I'd probably be a really good piece of shit. You know.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter though. Like, if one of them hurts your kids, it's fucking game on. Like, we are coming out and we are hunting. That's it. That's the only job. And we have soft guys doing amazing things. They're all over the world. Recon's still alive and well. MARSOC is alive and well, the Marine Special Operations Command. Those guys are all over the place. I linked up with some of them on this last deployment. I ended up in Baghdad for a bit, like by myself, linking up with some guys and planning some things. But they're everywhere, and they're just they're always looking for work. All of them. I love them. They just want to work. So
Yeah.
And then some guys get out and they'll go do, a lot of guys get out and do police work. A lot will go to, ATF, FBI, DEA. We have a lot that get out and become spooks. They go work for the CIA. And it's a great spot to, I'm not trying to be a recruitment commercial, but like, it's a great spot to go do your job, learn a skill, get out and do something else.
Yeah.
For sure. A lot of people are like, oh, what am I going to advertise myself as a trigger puller? Like, man, there's a lot you can advertise. And for the officer community, like, very rarely are you going to find a lieutenant colonel or a colonel without like several grad degrees. Like, and I love that about the Marine Corps. Like, I have to go to a school next. Okay, like I got to be a student.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember that a few years ago. You did that. Did you go to state or something for something?
Yeah. So I was. You do your first stint as a second lieutenant, first lieutenant, and then no matter what your job is, they're going to make you do a B billet. If you're enlisted, you might get histed. for an SDA, for a special
I
duty
have no
assignment.
idea what you just said.
Yeah, for an enlisted
Are you
guy.
understanding?
You can only
half this?
imagine the people at home just going, "What the fuck
fuck
is
is
going on?
I'll
Is this
explain it.
English? I
I
don't
got you.
understand."
If you're like a sergeant or staff sergeant, you might get something called HISted, and it's like you're going to go be a drill instructor, you're going to go be a recruiter. Brutal. 8411s that are recruiters, brutal job.
Why?
The Marine Corps is not like MCRIC, the Marine Corps Recruiting Command, is not fucking around. Don't go out, don't make mission, don't make your quota, like pack your shit, buddy.
Really?
So I got by name to come out here, even though I'm an 0302 grunt, like I got by name to come out here to East Lansing and be the Michigan Officer Selection Officer. So I was recruiting college kids to be officers. There's a whole enlisted side that they have to worry about. So at the top, there's an RSCO, a recruiting station CO. Then there's the whole enlisted side. And then there's the officer side. And I'm trying to find college students. I'm not dealing with parents. I'm not going to high schools. I have like Michigan State, Western, everything really but Wayne County. So I was driving a lot. Parts of the UP, it's a pain in the ass. I'm on a yearly quota at that point. The enlisted side's on monthly, like bones. You got a friggin' monthly mission statement. I have a year. Okay, cool. But if you don't like, I'm not looking for 600 white kids. There is, on the officer side, something the enlisted side doesn't have to deal with. I got to find 4 things: category, component, race, and gender.
Jesus Christ.
So the category like air, ground, law, reserve, or component like PLC, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. If you don't do your math right and you don't figure yourself out like quickly, you might be February. The bell rings in April, man. You got August to April. That's it. The bell rings in April, and if you're not done, you're fired. So if I got to
Would
find...
they fire someone like
Oh,
you?
dude. Thanks for coming out. You're fired. We'll put you somewhere for a little bit, and then you won't get promoted. So it's not like that day you pack your shit.
Yeah,
but
thank you for your service,
Yeah.
sir.
Is that like the cops at the end of the month trying to fill that quota, pulling everybody over, trying to just...
Is that a true thing, by the way?
You just start...
No.
They can't quota you guys. That's not a thing. Yeah, so we're on no shit a quota. So if you recruit 600 white kids, like, hey, man, good job. You're fired. You're an idiot.
Really?
Yeah, maybe you're on for 44 for a year. Who knows?
So are you looking for trans?
No.
No. I mean, if someone goes, I'm just a lady.
Don't ask, don't tell, right?
Marines,
It's
just a lady.
man. No, I'm not. I don't know that.
What if one comes up? What if a transgender person comes up and says just that? I'm a lady, so I want to lower the admission rates. I don't have to bench press as much as the men.
It's never
just a
been a
lady.
thing that I've encountered ever. Certainly on recruiting, and I've never encountered it in the fleet. So I honestly don't know what. We get weird stuff. Don't get me wrong. We had a guy in the MEU on our last deployment, and he's like, I don't want to shave anymore because I identify with the Nordic culture. And my boss is like,
Fuck out of here.
tell me anything about Norse mythology. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Are you,
yeah.
You know, and he's like, yeah, but I got this tattoo. It's like a circle, and it's got some shit in it. You know, I watch Vikings.
Yeah.
And okay, maybe that kid doesn't shave anymore. I don't know. I have no idea how he dealt with that. But most of the time, you just get standard problems.
Do
you know?
do you guys face the? Either of you can answer this, but the problem we see in society, we report on it, talk about it all the time, where everybody's so sensitive about everything that, you know, just a complaint can ruin someone's career. And a complaint, I was abused, could just be like, get your shit and get the fuck out of here. Like, it could just be something that would be standard for military guys.
Yep.
Do you guys run into that where it's like, I'm being bullied in the Marines?
It's a difficult job for like drill instructors, sergeant instructors to do.
Like Arlie Ermy.
Yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like that scene, could that happen?
If I would definitely not be cool with someone choking themselves with my hand, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Putting fucking soap in a sock, probably a bad idea. You know, like there's a fine line between like training and hazing.
But the language.
The language is.
You know, calling someone a queer.
Can't.
Only queers and steers
Nope.
come from Texas. You don't look like much. Look like an old steer.
I
to
mean,
me.
even in the fleet, like in an infantry battalion, where like, God, man, I've seen dudes punt coffee pots into walls, and it's a Tuesday. That's
Yeah.
fine. But like, there are surveys that are not mandatory, but they're to the force. They're command climate surveys, and every commander is going to have a survey at some point. And if a couple guys corroborate a story, like that first sergeant said faggot, like multiple times, and it made me uncomfortable. Then that first sergeant's probably getting fired.
Really?
So there's going to be a PI, which is investigation, or a CI if it's serious enough. They'll appoint an investigating officer, And if that thing comes to light that somebody's talking like that person's getting fired.
Wait, how do you get fired out of the military? I mean, without being discharged, you just get demoted, or just get reassigned, or how does that actually work when fired? You know,
there's several ways. Like you can,
I know you can fuck up and get booted.
Yep, you can. There's NJPs, so non-judicial punishment. It's like instead of taking somebody to court, you could allow the commander to, take rank, take pay, put someone on restriction. If you get broomed from a battalion, like I had a buddy get a DUI at his XO's wedding. He got stopped at a California checkpoint, and I love this guy. This guy's a great officer. Doesn't matter, man. That day, you're gone. So they'll move him somewhere else. And what essentially they'll do, it's not like you go home and you're not a Marine anymore. They'll prevent you from being promoted. So eventually you'll get out like in a year. So you got like 12 months of pay left, man. Like figure your life out. Or if you blow coke and you're going to get ADCEPT, you got a limited amount of time before they'll take you to the gate kind of thing. It used to be a lot more drastic, like, bad conduct discharge, rip the guy's, chevrons off, get the fuck out. Like, it's not like that anymore, but it's, dude, the outside world is outside that base, and you're not gonna be allowed here anymore. Take your ID card.
So why? Is it just protection of the brand?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? That you don't want to?
It's protecting the institution. It's honor, courage, commitment. You can't break faith with the institution. You can't do it. The guy that got blown out for saying, really, I thought the lieutenant colonel.
Who was wearing, I think he was wearing his uniform, which is a problem. And he questioned, I think, the Afghan withdrawal.
Yeah, he did.
Which every one of us fucking questioned. That was the biggest shit show I've ever seen. And I mean,
we were hauling ass. We were steaming that way. We were supposed to leave on August 4th. That thing ended the 31st. We ended up leaving on the 14th, 15th, give or take, on a 32nd Street in San Diego. And we were heading right there. I was doing ULN line by lines. ULNs are like, I think line items, not just for personnel, but for gear, to get into HKIA to do that evacuation. And a guy I went to...
So you were going to that airport?
I was going to that airport.
Yeah.
And
international.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a guy that I went to school with, Eddington, was there. He was the OPSO for 1-8. And Ben, my neighbor, was OPSO for 2-1. So I'm interacting with the OPSOs, trying to figure out, like, what do we need to rip out, for a relief in place. The commandant didn't want to rip people out because they were already established, and I understand that. It didn't matter, though, because the ship goes what the ship goes. Like, we can't bend space and time. So we didn't get in a Fifth Fleet until that thing was over anyways. And it was close. If that had extended, we might have gone. Those guys did friggin' amazing work. And I wish I could explain, Hemingway couldn't explain this with the fucking words that he has, how difficult it is, how little sleep, if any, that you get for the amount of time and shit that happened. World War Z happened at that airport. People crashed over the wire, inexplicably got through sea wire unscathed just to get to a plane. And then you got people,
falling bodies falling off the goddamn wheels of that thing
just to get out.
Yeah.
And it was an impossible scenario that those guys were put in. And then the Army ripped them out. Those guys opened the Abbey Gate. That guy detonated an S-vest at the Abbey Gate, and then some kids got killed.
Like 18 of them.
One of my guys that was Lance Corporal Taylor died. He was a Lance Corporal mine in 3-7. Absolute stud of a human being. Absolute pipe hitter. He died. Ben, my buddy, got ball bearings through his body. Got evacuated and lived and was able to see his firstborn be born.
Jesus.
Just a pipe hitter. And guy happens to be going to recruiting to be an RSCO, go figure. And I'm like, wait, man, at least you don't have to do that job anymore.
Yeah.
He's driving to Tennessee right now to go do that job.
Really?
So, hell yeah. Yeah.
What does it do to the human body to get ball bearings through it?
Man, they'll do shit to the ball bearings too. They'll put them in a mason jar and piss on them. They'll do a lot of things just to make sure that even if you don't die, you get an infection that's really bad. They'll do all kinds of stuff. It's not the first enemy force to do stuff like that. Like, a lot have.
How was that able to happen? Do you blame the administration? You probably have to parse your words here, but it looked like there's a way to do that, and then there's the fucking bowl of soup way to do that.
It's tough when you're on the ground if everybody and their brother, because it was said on CNN, knows when it's happening. If you strike a deadline, we were in this position up in Kajaki. I was shutting a place down. We were demilling a place. Everybody knew when we were going to leave. So inevitably, when you're going to leave someplace for an IO win for the enemy, an information operations win, they might, at the last minute, start mortaring. Now you're taking mortar rounds when you're trying to leave. Did they force you to leave? No. We were leaving anyways. But it looks like from the information domain
looks like you're running scared.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So if you tell everybody and their mother when you're leaving a place and pulling everybody out of a place like HKIA, something's going to happen. And
why would they have shut down? I mean, what's a possible philosophy of killing Bagram before that and then doing everything out of Kaya? I mean, it makes zero sense whatsoever. That was your fucking airport. You didn't have to deal with Kaya at all.
Nope.
They've done everything out of Bagram. Why?
Why?
I mean, not that you know, but I mean, that's the biggest issue of all of it is that they left it to go through a public fucking airport, basically.
Yeah, and HKIA is a tough place around there.
It's fucking crazy.
It's tough. Kabul in general, but like you close a place like that has the infrastructure, the manning, the Force Pro, and you end up trying to snap that into place at an airport that doesn't really have
even security.
No,
I mean, it's
not
just
at all.
It's garbage. I mean,
you got guys with J-Meals trying to get C-wire to wrap around this place. It's freaking huge. Imagine if we were like, we had a plan, God, there was one that was going to happen in another part of the world, somewhere in Africa, and I was planning this last one on the MEU we were just on, just to get the Force Pro measures in place to get 20-something thousand people out of an airport in a part of the world that is difficult just to get C-wire palletized on a C-130, a C-17, whatever aircraft gray tail you're going to put it on, to land that thing and then spread like a virus, secure that thing, and then start getting people out in an organized manner. If an enemy combatant is coming and closing the circle closer and closer and closer, people are going to panic. No one's, it's like rats in the Titanic. Like, people know when shit's going sideways and they're trying to get out. And it's just self-preservation. I had so many guys reach out on Facebook Messenger. Hey, like Commandant was like commander when I was lieutenant. We're still here. He was one of my terps, interpreters reaching out. Like, can you get us a letter to get us out of here?
Shameful. It's embarrassing. I mean, you're talking about the interpreters that helped you talk to village people every day. You worked with them for years. They're your guys.
I love them.
They're your guys. They were able to make the subtle differences in language make sense, and cultural differences make sense.
It's very tough for...
and then to leave them by the thousands back. They're being tortured would be my guess.
If they're not dead already, they're hiding.
Yeah. And the Taliban has their information. We left that shit behind on a hard drive, I think.
Being there long enough, you kind of realize that the Taliban know a lot of stuff you don't know.
Yeah, they knew already.
Like
who everybody was, but
it's like
how do they do that?
It's like imagine you grow up, like you're by where'd you go? Riley, yeah.
Riley Middle School.
Okay, you're by Riley, and you throw a snowball at a car. That dude slams on the brakes and gets out. And he's going to go whoop your ass. You know every nook and cranny of that place, all the neighbors. You know where it's safe house. Where can I get away with going? That's kind of how it was all the time. If something stands out, like there was a compound 74, 77 in one uniform. This is like 11 years ago, 12 years ago. And the guy had camels. It was stood out because he was the only one with camels. Like, and the Marines want to go take a fucking selfie with the camels, whatever. What are the odds that guy was a shitbag? Of course he was. Yeah. He's got enough money to buy camels. Like, he was not a good guy. It was just little subtleties after a while start standing out.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to win a population over when you have a counter IO game going on from the other side. It's not hard for somebody on the other side to slit a kid's throat, shoot a kid, put him in a building, take a picture, and be like, look what the Marines did. We would absolutely not do that. Are you kidding me? But still, some people are going to believe it. And then if you, God forbid, kill the wrong person or civilians, one, your ass is, you're done. But two, you just created several enemy out of nothing.
Didn't President Soup just do that and bomb like a fucking car that had 11 family members? And
my phone ringing?
Didn't that just happen? He tried to take. Well, no, he was saying that we got the guys who bombed the Afghan or the
airport.
The airport.
Yeah.
We got the guys contributing. It turns out they were missionary workers and family members.
It didn't go well.
So why isn't he get shit canned for that?
Did
someone get shit canned for that?
I don't know, buddy. Like, there's a lot of tit for tat that happens, especially like, man, when I was in Baghdad not that long ago, you're driving from BIAP or BDSC, so Baghdad International Airport or the Baghdad Diplomatic Security Complex, which is the airport, because the DOS controls that, Department of State. We're DOD. So you have to get you have to have a fucking reason to go there. You can't just show up at BDSC. So I get there, and I'm gonna get convoy with some MSOT, and we're in like Land Rovers with buddy. Driving out, it's 15 and a half clicks, give or take, to Union 3, another base. And you leave BDSC, and there's billboards with like Soleimani and his son. And there's a billboard of, like, our blood will not be spilled in vain. And this is like in Baghdad. And then there's another billboard of like the United States Capitol. It's like red background, very creepy. You know what I mean? Like people marching and shit, like on our lawn kind of thing. And it's like, this is the information that's happening every day when people are driving to the airport. This is what they're seeing. It's friggin' dicey. In Baghdad, thankfully, blood was spilled there for a long time to make sure that I could even be on a road and drive. A lot of people did a hell of a lot of work making sure that place is what it is right now. It's still not some place I'd like to ride a bicycle, though. You know what I mean? Like, it's still not some place I want to walk with my kids. So I don't know that it ever will be. I mean, you might have a briefcase of dinar upstairs. I don't know if that's going to come back in value.
Yeah.
I almost bought some when I was there, but I never.
I bought $1 million in dinar at one point. I turned it back. I bought it for $800 and sold it for $600.
I don't know if that's going to become valuable, but
yeah.
I mean, it's
that's the Iraqi dollar.
Yeah.
For those that don't know.
But it's still a hell of a place to be, and there's still soldiers, Marines. There's still people doing incredible work over there every day, and they're not with their families. They're working. So I love them.
Do those? It sounds like a miserable existence over there.
Yeah.
For the locals.
Well, I mean,
are they
that's
happy
all I know,
there?
though.
Yeah, it's all they know. But are they familiar with the West? Do they know what's going on
in
the rest of the world? And are they jealous of that? Or they look at us as just like Sodom and Gomorrah?
Yeah, I had a history teacher in college that was like, they hate you because of Coca-Cola and jeans.
Yeah.
And it was a whole...
I don't blame them.
It was a whole story, it was a whole class about why they hate us. I don't know that that's all true or all false, but if you just be a good dude is kind of the rule. If there's a kid and he wants fucking candy, give him some candy, whatever. Yeah. Just be a good person. But most of those people are just trying to live their lives, And in Iraq, it's totally different. There's buildings that are, high-rises type buildings. There's a lot of construction going on in Baghdad right now. And there's people that are just caring about their normal lives. There's still a ton of security and a ton of military presence and vehicles from the Iraqi army and several other groups. But in Afghan, it's a totally different ballgame. That's like, some parts, Kabul, Lashkar Gah, some of these places are built up. Most of them is wide open nothing, like wide open desert, shitty Tatooine nothing, with some mud brick compounds. So, and then there's green zone areas near the Helmand they're literally green. It's not like Iraq green zones where it means safety. It means like they're green.
What do you mean?
Like physically green, like because shit grows there, like the Nile. But like these people are just trying to fucking make poppy happen, and they're just trying to make money. You know? And if somebody
is that all they can grow?
They can't, poppy will grow anywhere, but they're growing like there was a program years ago like we'll give them seeds for other stuff. Okay, cool. If they harvest like 5 million acres of fucking wheat, they're not making what they're making with poppy.
Yeah,
why would you
acre of poppy?
Yeah, and like, is it legal? Nah, but is somebody gonna burn it down? Also, no. So why not?
Why wouldn't they burn it down?
You'll get we never tried walking through people's fields. Because if you start burning shit down, they'll IED their own fields. They don't care, don't care, and that goes back to the kids. If you tell a kid who's going to make $200 in his lifetime, I'll give you $200 today. All you got to do is bury this device. Go bury this thing, and that kid just made $200. Or I took your fucking sister. Go bury this thing for us. Then they'll do it. They want to make money, or they're inherently not great people and they want to do it, or they want to get their sister back. Who knows? But so say you murked that kid. Did you just solve a problem? No, you just killed a kid. Yeah. His parents hate you now.
Yeah.
How hard was that with Taliban? Just most wars are armies or militaries. You can identify them and all. Uniforms, equipment, all that. They just it's almost like Nam. They blend in. Normal dress people blend in with their little towns, their little colonies, and everything. There's so much intel that it must go on to identify who's who, and fucking they all got beards. You can't tell who's what.
Everybody
they all man jammies and beards. Yep. That's it.
And then there's tribal dynamics that go into it, and some tribes don't get along with others. And then there's dialects that go into it, like the ANCOP that were there, the Afghan National Civil Order Police. Those guys are speaking Dari. We were speaking Pashtun. So, and our locals where we were at happened to speak Pashtun. So, where we were at, it just so happened that the ANCOP, that was a hardship tour. Are they from there? No, they're from Kabul. They don't give a shit about saying, they don't care. Yeah. We did, because that's what we're there for. But you're trying to force people to go patrol. Before we got there, the Brits were there. And then, if you don't get out and patrol and make your presence known or kill some people, eventually you'll just get laced. And they will just move closer and closer into your bubble, into wherever you're at, and they will just ID the shit out of it. So, or they'll start throwing grenades over the wire. So there was also a balloon at Jackson, and this balloon looks like the Goodyear blimp. We wanted to paint a face in the front of it, just so people thought wherever it was facing,
Looking at you.
But these people found out, like, that balloon has an angle. It has a point of view. And it's an angle, obviously, that goes to the ground. If there's a wall and that balloon is looking this way, on the other side of that wall, you're free reign to put bombs wherever you want. They figured that stuff out after a while. So if you're looking out from a post at a cop or a patrol base, and you see a wall and it's a corner, I'll bet you a Buffalo nickel on the other side of that corner is a fucking ID. Every time.
Really?
Without fail. Yeah. And it sucks when you got kids that are 19 losing legs. None of that shit is fun. And it's you got a golden hour to keep them alive, and some of them don't.
A golden hour?
You got 1 hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 hour. And that's to get them to a higher echelon of care. You got to bring a bird in, and you got to hope that fucking aircraft. Tricky Pedro, these people flying 46s, the Army, the Marines that were coming in to help us out to medevac a kid, they will land an aircraft. They don't give a shit where it's at. They
Those
don't care.
are fucking studs.
Unreal.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah,
like medevac shit, getting them out of there.
Balls screwed on super tight. If that bird touches down an IED, though,
happens?
You just made a problem into a way bigger problem.
Yeah.
There were places where we weren't allowed to go across the Helmand when I was up in Kajaki, up in Zamindawar, because if something happened to an aircraft over there, the only way you're getting across the Tanger Bridge is with a light-skinned Humvee, because it couldn't support an MRAP or a MATV. Now you're fucked. Now what are you going to do? We're going to foot patrol over there and try and catch a pilot with a trap mission before that dude gets, dragged down the street and beheaded. So there was places that were very difficult to maintain a security presence just because what you could and could not bring there. So it's a weird dynamic being over there.
Yeah.
It is awesome sometimes, and sometimes it's not.
You're passionate. I can tell. You love this shit. You love it.
I'd go back and do that stuff right now if I could. If the deployments were like that, we'd probably get people joining for that specific reason, like I did. I never wanted to do a MEU, and I didn't know what a MEU was. This thing I just did on the ship, I didn't know what that thing was. I didn't want to do it. I had buddies that were doing it. I wanted nothing to do with that. I sure as hell didn't want to be on a ship.
Yeah.
And then I was on a ship, and then when I was on it, I also didn't want to be on it. But
you just wanted to be shooting shit.
Just wanted to go do it,
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough.
Full on Rambo style.
Wanted to get it, and I was lucky enough to have that opportunity, and a lot of guys weren't, and they're not now. So, but stick around, who knows?
Yeah, we see so much on the news about, and I'm curious what your opinion is, because there's so much stuff. This whole equity, inclusion, diversity, it's creeping into everything, and so the argument becomes, you see General Milley on TV all the time talking about, I've got people reading certain books and this and that, and it's like, why is this important?
Yeah.
Why do you need a trans presence or a certain percentage of women or lowering these standards? Does that affect you guys like it does the American public? Is it overblown? Is it a real issue?
Yeah, I think it's a real issue, but I think it's talked about a lot more than, it's blown into or out of proportion to be something it's not. When we recruit people, we want to represent the demographic of the country.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a certain percent of Hispanics, others, like Pacific Islanders, African American. We're going to have a percentage that is put into the mission statement for recruiters to find, for officer selection officers to find. And it's difficult for me if I have a Hispanic mission and I'm in, I don't know, East Lansing.
Yeah, good luck. Could work in East LA.
It's tough. Yeah, Texas is way easier.
Yeah.
We joke that third of the Marine Corps is from Texas, but it's easier for them to make that quota. For us, it's difficult up here. And it's like, hey, man, you ever eat Taco Bell? Did you like it? All right, check it out. You can't do that stuff. We joke about it, but you can't do it. I had kids that were lily white getting on Ancestry.com to see if they were a percentage of anything.
Wow.
If Charlize Theron came in my office, you're an African American. You were born in South Africa. That is what it is.
Elon Musk.
That's it.
African American.
That's it.
Count it.
Yep, count it. Put it on the
Check
board.
the box.
But we have to have What came up years ago was IOC specifically because, God, I can't even remember. Leon Panetta this was like his thing.
Yeah.
We're going to have women in the infantry. Okay, cool. Well,
That means front lines.
yeah, I mean, like, you're going to have enlisted and officer, female infantry officers. IOC is not a good time. Like, that is not a place to just go hang out. And they open it to females. And oddly enough, when I was on recruiting, I never had like a line of women outside my door because they wanted to be grunts. That was not a thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for the rest of the country, but that was not a thing. So, okay, now IOC is open to females. They're going to take a I'm talking like the CrossFit, daughter, sister types. Okay, you're going to go to IOC. Awesome. Then when they go there, and I like 40 in a row. I mean, we broke so many women who are the top tier women, and it's like their shins, their ankles, their lower body extremities, their whatever. You're at some part in that school, you're going to get on either, I mean, side by side and across a field, and you're going to go Braveheart on each other, and it's called the PTDG. You end up just fighting each other. And then we form like hunter-killer teams of 4 of us, and then we're just going to, it's black on or tap out. You're just going to black everybody out. That's the game we're going to play today. Okay, so if you take someone's fingers and you're like, all right, cool, I'm going to take these home. These are mine now. And you break them, that person's going to get recycled. And a girl got her ribs broken and ended up going back through and graduated. So we had one. Like, we got one through.
So the guys would have to fight the girls?
If you're in the class, like, you're fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the field, they don't separate.
Does she have any chance against these absolute animals?
I'll tell you, I don't have a chance against 5 other dudes. Like, buddy, if you got 4 people grabbing a limb at a time and someone throat choking you, like, it's over. So probably not, but we're going to fight. We're still going to do it. And it's an awesome event. Then there's like
Sounds horrible.
There's another one
sounds
that's
like the worst event ever.
There's one that's a boxing ring and like PT events. And I don't want to explain too much of it, but someone's boxing and it's a really great event. It's awesome, but you're getting socked like hard. And I didn't have any girls in my class. That didn't happen when I was there, but I can't imagine someone just teeing off on a chick. And I bet they did. I mean,
you think so?
I bet they did. And that one that graduated, no one said a bad word about her. That's awesome. She's out now. She's not in anymore.
Yeah.
But that was one. Okay, so we broke several to get to one. And the idea was that enlisted females should have a lieutenant to look up to. Our battalion had a female first sergeant, so it's a senior enlisted in a company. That's a big deal. She became a sergeant major recently. She's in 1-4 out in Pendleton. Amazing first sergeant, arguably our best one. And you're like the senior enlisted advisor / good order and discipline / administrative readiness of a company. And she's a sergeant major for a battalion now. So she's awesome. I love her. But that is not an easy position. We talk about like working in a man's world. It is literally all guys.
Yeah.
It's all guys. And you got to navigate that as a female when you're always being, looked at, judged, you're the only one of your kind type of thing. Like, that's not an easy position.
Is it worth it to break 40 eggs to get one? I mean, it doesn't seem like it would.
I don't know. Like,
It might prove the point.
it might have. And then they opened it to every company grade officer in town. So at some point it was like, hey, if you're a captain and below, try on if you want to. No one's really banging the door down at that point, but if you're breaking somebody, that person either has the wind taken out of their sails because they got recycled, or they're going to go be another MOS. Like, that sucks. You just got broken.
What's MOS again?
Military Occupational Specialty, your job.
Yeah.
You're not a grunt, you're going to be a comm marine, or you're going to be a PAO, a public affairs, or something. But still, like, you just got recycled at TBS at the basic school, and you have to rehab now, and then you have to go do that other job. So, not easy. I don't
Not cut out for the fighting.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Go grab a desk.
Dude, they can't. These guys can't say that, but I can.
Yeah, I mean,
I've heard enough rumblings from guys in your world. I know what the reality is in a lot of those situations, and it just seems dangerous.
That happens to a lot of guys, too, in all honesty, right?
Well, yeah, sure, but guys are built different than women, period. They just are.
Like, physiologically.
There's a
Bone
difference.
density,
Bone
muscle.
density, muscle, tissue. Everything is different.
And they wanted those women to go through, and some of them did amazing jobs. And I'm sure they're elsewhere in the Marine Corps right now, crushing it. Good for them.
Yeah.
The ones that we have who are female enlisted, we got a few lance corporals, a corporal, a sergeant. It's cool to see the Marines protect these women like they're siblings. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But we have 6 in a battalion.
And it's just a reality. Men's center of gravity is in the shoulders, right? Which is why supreme athletes can jump through the fucking roof. Women's center of gravity is in their hips, which is why they can jump 2 inches.
I mean, just the weight people have to carry on these hikes, like, I've talked to Jesus many times during hikes.
Yeah,
And I mean,
I bet.
they're brutal. So that is just a sustained rate of pain over miles. And if anybody is listening who is a former Marine, the hikes are alive and well. They're still happening. Recon, sheep shit, the microwave, all those things are still alive. They're terrible still. 29 Palms is still a bitch to hike through. So is Pendleton. I don't know jack about Lejeune. I haven't been to Camp Lejeune. Ideally, I never do. But man, it is a brutal. Infantry is a brutal world. And then from there, you got people going soft, and that's even a whole different echelon of pain.
What's the Marine version of the SEAL?
So there's tiers of special forces. This is where goddamn military people who are in or currently in, this is where they start screaming at the radio.
Yeah.
There's no harsher critic. Jesus Christ. Have you ever heard of like Paul Machano? He did like Bad News Network. He started RangerUp.com.
No.
He started a business and he helped other service members, Black Rifle Coffee, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. I know Black Rifle.
Like Tim Kennedy's buddy. Anyways, he would put on a show weekly called the Bad News Network. And I used to watch it once a week. It was on, I think it was Fridays. And it was just a YouTube thing, 20 minutes long, current news. That's it, once a week. And Nick
Marine news?
It was any news.
Any news. Okay.
He might agree with the policy or disagree with it. He's very smart. And he would get fucking roasted in the comments. And it was like, dude, stop reading the comments.
Yeah.
And he would talk about it the next show. And it's just like, dude, stop reading the comments. I'm sure you guys deal with this shit all the time.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about SOF. Okay. There are tiers. What we have is you're like straight leg infantry, and then you have recon, and then you have MARSOC. And if someone is say they're a lieutenant, and they've been through a workup in a pump, they're allowed to go to ANS, assessment and selection. If you make it through assessment and selection based off of a board, ultimately you're allowed to go to ITC. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's difficult. And then you're part of the Marine Special Operations Command. We had that East Coast, West Coast. Now it's only the East Coast in Lejeune. So great program, amazing professionals in that organization. I love them to death. They're phenomenal. Plenty of buddies that have gone and done it. I love it. I was trying to go to MARSOC this sounds like every other dude that almost joined the military, when I was on recruiting duty, because we were doing Afghan, like over and over again. And I relayed that to my battalion XO, probably the wrong way, probably a little hot-headed about what I wanted to do. And he's like, that's cool. You could deploy again and then go do that shit when you're on a B-billet, which for me was recruiting.
Oh.
It just so happens that, like, no, you can't. You're not going anywhere on recruiting. We're not hot filling an OSO. You're going to do this job for 36 months and wear it on the chin. So I didn't go. Do I regret it now? Like, yeah, somewhat, but I love what I'm doing. And I think I'm where I'm supposed to be, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't have any regrets. But
Why did you think people would be yelling at the radios at this point?
just people who are listening who are service members or former tend to be like your harshest critics. You know what I mean? Like, you could say like, hoo-ah the wrong way, and an army dude would be like, "Bleh." So I'm about to go.
What's the right way to say hoo-ah?
I don't care, because hoorah is the Marine Corps. So it doesn't matter what the army say. No, I see now someone's fucking screaming. I still love them. I still love them all.
I will say, when I was over there, the Marines told me, because we weren't allowed to have weapons, civilian obviously. If shit ever went down, I made some friends with a lot of people over there. They said, if shit ever goes down, follow us. But before you do that, go find the army guy and pick up his rifle that he dropped, and then come find us.
Yeah.
I didn't say it. I'm just telling you that's what I was told.
I love the army.
You've sent me some videos. I love the army too.
Yeah, bless their hearts. And you know what? For that, like, our indoctrination is just different than theirs. It's just different. At a drill instructor is going to wear Charlies. He's going to wear Chucks. When he's screaming at recruits and all that trash, like, he's wearing a dress uniform.
Yeah.
It's just very professional. I'll show you a video for an initial drill instructor speech that he gives to recruits. It's very professional the way they do this stuff. And then fucking racks start getting flipped and people start getting absolutely life down. And it's awesome. The Army does it a little bit differently. It's still difficult. It's not easy. I worked with Coast Guard people before. It's awesome. You know, I have no ill will towards any other branch. And goddamn it, I'm about to go to a school that is an Army school. So
Yeah.
I'm sure, be, neck deep in their culture for at least a year.
Really?
So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sunny Leavenworth.
Sounds like fun.
I thought if I was going to Leavenworth, it'd be for a different reason. It turns out it's a school.
Yeah. Yeah. Mike, is this type of stuff getting into the police departments too, where recruiting cops, do you care? Or is it like, nope, we got to have 30% women, 30% white guys?
No. At this point, we're just happy if we get bodies.
Yeah.
We've got.
It's got to have taken a hit over the last couple of
Horrible.
years. I can only
Yeah.
imagine between retirement and nobody coming in.
Get right up on that, Mike.
2015, we started to see it where things were a little, this is going to be tough for us. Last 2 years, it's been rough.
George Floyd.
That
You were
did not
pissed,
help.
man. You texted
Yeah,
me.
we talked right away after that happened.
Yeah, and you were like, this is gonna fucking suck for cops.
Yeah. One dude, 300, 500 miles away, has an impact on how I got to do
Globally.
my job.
Yeah.
How a dude in New York has to do his job, and how a guy in LA has to do his.
Yeah.
It's rough.
What is the state of policing, do you think, right now? Do you feel like politicians are helping or hurting? I mean, it's, I've gone through it, and I won't put you guys on the spot. Black Lives Matter, I think, is a fucking religion and a terrorist organization in this country. That's my opinion. I said that, you didn't. But I think the defund the police thing is going to backfire horribly.
I think it already did.
Yeah.
I think that ship sailed. When you have people in, was it Seattle, where they had the demilitarized zone, where they had the
Chop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that Seattle or Portland? Chaz and Chop.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah, how'd that
6
work?
blocks.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, they became the murder capital of the world.
And on top of that, as soon as they got that, they tried to enact all these laws that were already on the books. So you got to have ID. You can't have
ID.
guns.
Yeah.
It was like, where have I seen this fucking movie before?
Yeah, and then you had a kingpin running around with security, beating up
Yep.
everybody else who had a question. I mean, it was the most bullshit society, and nobody did anything.
It was
about
utopia, Mike. What are you
It was
talking
the summer
about?
of love. It was the summer of the fucking
Yeah.
mayor said that. This is maybe our version of the summer of love. It turned into the murder capital on planet Earth.
Probably the greatest thing that we had happen. I'm in Redford. We border Detroit. Chief Craig, who was the acting chief in Detroit at the time.
Love that guy.
He was a rock star.
Yeah.
As soon as it
Beast.
started to kick off in Detroit, with the
Riots.
Protests.
yeah.
Yeah.
The peaceful protest, he shut that shit down.
Dude.
They weren't having it.
I got to tell you, I was in California when all that happened, and I've never been more proud of my city. When every major, from Atlanta to Chicago to LA to New York, were all blowing up, it's like, where's Detroit on the national scene? And Craig wasn't having it.
No,
and it was like I took
He had to
more
fuck around,
pride.
find out.
Yeah, I took more pride in my city in that period of time than I have in a long, long time.
And it's stressful when things like that happen. I think back to the 4 or 5 years ago with Celebrate Good Times playing in the background.
Yeah.
On
Oh my
CNN.
Shit.
Mike Brown.
It's funny, and we laugh about it because it's Gal's humor, but shit, man, it's when you get called up, when you get activated, and we got to go out, and when that jerk off showed up with Burning the Crane in Dearborn, that was probably a decade ago.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a bad scene, man. Nobody wants to be in that spot. I don't want
Yeah.
to be thinking about that on my weekend off.
Yeah.
It's rough, but the guys are pros. They truthfully always have been, and they're doing a really good job with what we've got to work with right now. We're doing way more with way less, but we're getting it done.
Yeah, it's got to be tough, man. I got people hit at me about that Celebrate thing when I was playing Celebration.
Fucking hysterical.
It was fucking hilarious. I knew it was fucking hilarious, but it was not. Like, some people took that the wrong way. Like, I was celebrating the death of George Floyd because of the verdict or whatever.
I took that as like CNN celebrating ratings going up.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
it's
awesome.
exactly
It's
what it
great
was.
TV.
They didn't give a shit about the citizens of Ferguson, Missouri.
No.
They didn't give a flying. They didn't care in the least about them. It was Don Lemon, and I have friends that were on the ground there reporting, and it was like Don Lemon's in a fur coat over here in a protected zone, not really dealing with it, but just glorifying the shit they're seeing over there.
Yeah, the worse it gets, the
taking
more
advantage
viewers
of
we're
it.
going to have.
Yeah.
It's not really caring about the little guy who's getting looted or
Yeah.
robbed or hurt.
Yeah,
It's
or the
just-
black store owner who's getting
Sure.
shot trying to protect his own fucking establishment.
Sure. Reminds me of the Asian community in LA back in
After the OJ.
92, yeah.
Yeah, totally. No, it's too bad because it doesn't take a genius to see, okay, what's going on here? You've destroyed your city. those businesses are not coming back.
Why would you?
Ever. They're not coming back. Now these people are living in squalor. CNN just packs up and walks out the door.
Yep, we got what we needed.
Yeah, we got what we needed.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, we ruined porn. Now people can come back here. I don't know what you guys think of Ferguson, Missouri. You know, the reports that came out, you know, and the Department of Justice, who was it, Eric Holder's team that did that. Some of that shit sounded really bad in Ferguson, like nickel and diming community members for, you know, oh, my bumper's in the sidewalk and I'm getting a ticket and then I don't pay that and they throw a fine on top of it and now a warrant and it goes on and all of a sudden it's like these people feel like they're being picked apart. Do you think that was true?
I'm gonna let you take that, buddy.
Yeah, you know, remember when we stopped the guy, he had all the suspensions and he had all the warrants and he had like 27 warrants.
One of my favorite stories when you looked at me and you just went, watch this. And you ran it like a fucking credit card.
Yep.
And it was just like,
dude,
24 fucking warrants for arrest.
He did, at least. I got a ton of empathy for this guy. Here's the thing. You get one. I haven't always been in a position where if I got a ticket, I could just go pay $150 and be good.
No.
There was times in my life where I would have had to fucking budget that, especially with kids.
Yeah.
We might have been eating less that week because now I got this ticket. Point is, you still got to get to work. It's hard. You get in that hole, it's hard to climb out of that.
Yeah.
And then it just snowballs. And then
Skip a court date because you know you can't pay it anyways.
That's it. So to answer the question about were they piling on, I don't know. It's a possibility, or it could be interpreted as that. You know, because if you don't pay your shit, yeah, you are going to get a warrant.
Yeah.
So if maybe they had some kind of thing where they wanted the streets to get cleaned up. You know, that was the Giuliani, the broken window theory, where any little thing, fucking NYPD was on you.
Yep.
It worked.
It worked. Great.
I don't know. It's probably not the most popular thing right now, but
it
fucking worked.
I was going to go do Anthony Cumia's show out in New York City again. And I called Dave Lando and I was like, hey, dude, I want to come back out and come to the city and sit in. He's like, yeah, that's fine. And then he was like, you know what, man, I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't recommend it. He's like, this city is not safe. I don't feel safe walking around any of these streets or Times Square. He said, dude, I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's a good idea.
Damn.
He didn't want me to fly to Manhattan to do a fucking talk show. That's Manhattan. I mean, that tells you the level. He's like, I walked by a dead body on the street the other day.
Dude, I don't doubt it. I was in New Orleans last weekend. You go a block in either direction off of Bourbon Street. Heads up, man.
Yeah. Detroit was like that for a long ass time.
We were at took a buddy out the other day, San Diego, and it was near Lake Balboa. It's near like Petco.
Okay.
Like, dude,
Been there.
love that place. It's awesome.
Yep.
We were near the gas lamp at the time when we were eating, and I parked, and I mean, like, I'm locking my car, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, people are paying taxes or rent or a mortgage, and you have tents, like, on their lawn.
Yeah.
People just fucking moved in, and there's Tent City down there in San Diego. And we always joked in Detroit, like, why would you be homeless here?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, God bless people like South Oakland Shelter, by the way. God bless them. But Jesus Christ, people migrate there, and then they live wherever. And there's blocks of just and people are shitting on the street.
Yeah.
It's like San Francisco.
Yeah.
We were joking about that.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, I felt empathy for that guy who was he's San Diego resident, and he would jog through the park by the water, blah blah blah, and there's just tents everywhere. And the guy lost his shit. He snapped, and he fucking chucked everything into the fucking water. I don't know if you saw that story.
no, but I could see that happening.
And it was like, look at this monster throwing a homeless guy's blankets into the fucking water and blah. And it was like, this dude probably for 20 years has been jogging through this park.
That was the day.
And it was like, he's had a fucking enough of
Michael Douglas.
stepping on a fucking needle. Yeah.
Oh, man.
This cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that fucking particular crackhead that made him explode. It was all the other crackheads.
just
And
the
nobody in
last
charge seems to be doing anything about it.
Dude, I parked. There's a McLaren, and there's a homeless guy right next to it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the line between the haves and have-nots. Like, I feel bad for these people. I do. 10 years ago, there was like a hepatitis A outbreak in San Diego down at Gaslamp because it was like, wash your hands if you touch a door. I'm like, I don't know if that's how hep is transferred, but I guess, okay.
Yeah.
But it's everywhere. It's friggin' everywhere. And you guys were talking the other day about like, well, what happens when you close mental health facilities? Well, like, I don't know. They go to the street, man.
Yeah. What do
some
you
of them
think
need help,
happens?
like a lot of help.
Yeah.
And some of them are fucking, dude, walk anywhere in San Diego and you'll see a woman screaming at a tree. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on in her mind? Is she methed down? I don't know. But she is dead set on screaming at this tree. And she is into it with this tree. And that tree ain't talking back, but she's fucking convinced that it is.
My mom and I would drive around, and you'd see guys in just tattered socks. It's fucking 90 degrees out. They're burned to shit. They're talking to God knows what in the middle of traffic. And you'd see that all the time. My folks live in Silicon Valley, and right by Apple's World headquarters. And it's amazing to me where for blocks, it's just, I mean, their answer is just put porta potties on either side of the encampment so they have somewhere to shit. So hopefully they won't shit on the sidewalk.
Checks out.
That's what their solution is. It's under every bridge, every tunnel, sidewalks all over. And then you get to Apple's World headquarters. And it's like, we are not going to have these vagabonds on our property. Fuck, that's their line in the sand. You don't see them anywhere around that. You can't even, you could barely walk on the sidewalk in front of Apple's World headquarters. Exactly where their property ends, the encampment starts again. And it's like, oh, for all you don't build walls, let's just fucking open our borders people out there.
Oh, man. I don't want to start talking about the border. Jesus Christ.
I know, yeah.
Man.
It's a whole other show.
Dude,
Wait, Mayorkas told us yesterday that the border's under control.
buddy, we were down at the border for 3 months. I
Yeah.
stood on the wall for 3 months.
Texas, Arizona, San Diego?
No, we had just by proximity, we got tasked we were take on to the Army. So we belonged to an Army. It was Rock Hassan's 101st Airborne. They were in charge of it, and they were C2ing that out of Texas. They were command and controlling that. So just by the proximity, we got tasked with it. It's a FOS. It's a feasibility of support. So we answered it, and I sent 527 guys, myself included, and I stayed in Alpine. Our AO, like our area of operations, went from San Clemente all the way down past the glider port at Torrey Pines. So
Yep.
love that beach, Black's Beach, love it.
Black's Beach.
Minus
Beach.
the nude,
I got some stories from there.
minus the nude guys.
The nude guys. Look for the mattresses and the fucking crevices.
Go down there during spring break and you will not see men. God bless the women that are there. Anyways, past Torrey Pines to Imperial Beach. Now start banging in east and start heading along the California border, all the way down Yuma and Welton in Arizona. So we had the entire southern border from California. And the CBP is just doing yeoman's work out there. God bless them. We had guys that were being recruited by the CBP to come work for them when they got out.
CBP,
The
California Border Patrol?
Border Protection.
Okay.
Phenomenal. Like they're also Customs and Border Protection. They're phenomenal people, and they are dealt an impossible hand.
Yeah.
Impossible. And like that at that time, we didn't have like caravans. We had your typical. This was the summer of 20.
The good old days.
Yeah. Right. Right.
It was just families trying to get across.
It was. But like, you've got a Trump wall that's 40 something feet, and I mean, I get pictures of it. It's something else. And then you have like corrugated steel that's like 9 feet, and it was like they called it the Obama wall. Like, where are people going to go? They're going to go there.
Yeah.
But if someone doesn't have the ability to go there, because some of these people have been walking forever.
Yeah.
You know, they're not crossing the Rio Grande where I'm
They're
at.
coming from Guatemala.
They're coming from wherever. Dude.
Everywhere. All over the world.
And some of them just wanted to be caught so they can get some water.
Yeah.
We couldn't touch anybody. Like, we're just on a radio calling CBP. We might be in a green and white Vic like theirs and just call it like, hey, we got another one. But you got a pregnant woman who's 7 months into this thing, third trimester, jumping over a wall and like landing how she lands. And you're like, okay, well, get on a radio that thing.
Wall.
Anchor dropped.
No, that was the Trump wall, dude. Like, dude, it's devastating to see. Yeah, some people are running drugs, obviously.
Yeah.
Sure. Fentanyl's coming in, for sure. But a lot of these people are just trying to find asylum. For whatever reason, they didn't want to go to a port of entry. Like, you can do that legally, for sure. But when there's thousands of people, that was 3 months, 10,200 people, give or take, that ended up, apprehended, kicked, because COVID was happening. So apprehended, kick them back across. It was summer of 20. They didn't want anybody in the cells because of COVID. Well, you got 2 chances with a coyote. You got 10 grand per person. That coyote's going to give you 2 tries. You don't get across the second try, pay another $10,000.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Fight with them?
No.
Argue with them?
No. And
That's
if you,
cartel run, right? All those coyotes are
And
cartel owned.
it's Quixote.
yes, and that's if you don't get robbed or raped. Like, they're in an impossible position. And some of these people had kids, and dude, it's the summertime on the fucking border.
Yeah.
Hotter than shit.
Yeah.
In Yuma, oh my God, save it.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Yeah, 120 in the shade.
I'm driving around making sure dudes are drinking water, and you got
Yeah.
people walking 100 fucking miles trying to get to the U.S. It's a terrible position.
There's more people that die on a hike in the desert because, you know, if you're not from there, if you don't know, like that dry heat will dehydrate you and you'll just drop where you are.
Yep, 6-year-old little girl barefoot. How long you been barefoot for, kiddo? Like,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. They don't speak English, but still, it was an impossible job that those guys are doing. God
Well,
bless them.
this Title 42 that they're talking about lifting, you know, was the COVID protocol thing. You know, the estimates from the DHS, this isn't my estimates or Donald Trump's estimates. The Department of Homeland Security is saying you lift that ban, about 18,000 a day crossing illegally into the border.
I can see that or more.
That comes out to 6.57 million people.
Yeah,
a year.
Tijuana right now, we got Ukrainians, you know,
Yeah.
trying to come in.
45 terrorists, I think. And I don't know how they're defining terrorists. I don't know. I mean, nowadays parents are domestic terrorists, so who they're defining as terrorists, I don't know anymore.
It's a loosely, yeah. It's
Someone at
loosely.
a PTA meeting is
Yeah.
a domestic terrorist nowadays.
Yeah, you feel for both sides. You got CBP people trying to go home to their wife and kids. You got police officers trying to go home to their wife and kids.
Yeah.
You have somebody else's wife and kid trying to come over here to not die from somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the argument of like start at the root cause back wherever they're from and make that place better. Like that place is not the United States.
No.
How do you
it's
do
not.
that?
You
I
don't.
know.
You don't. It's a
Kamala's got
bullshit
it though.
argument.
She's fixing it. I
Yeah.
heard. So it's probably well in hand right now. It's probably fine. So it's probably okay.
Yeah, she's the border czar. She's killing it. She hasn't been there yet, but she's banging it out. She got within 500 miles of it.
Did she?
So, yeah. Not bad. She was in San Antonio or something, you know? Yeah, it's perfect.
Yep.
It infuriates, I think, so many more Americans than you even realize. I hope you guys both in your lines of work, Marines, cops, feel the love that so many have. And I think it's the lack of respect for people that dedicate their lives to helping others. Is shit always going to go right? Of course not. But that's, you know, I keep saying it's like looking at a mosaic and focusing on one color piece in it and going, but look at that one, instead of focusing out of the mosaic and seeing the beautiful picture that it creates. So
Agreed.
for every George Floyd, there's a whole mosaic, and George Floyd was a world-class piece of shit. Nobody can talk about that. I don't expect you guys to comment on it. I don't give a shit. He was. If you're holding a gun to a pregnant woman's belly and robbing her, yeah, you're probably a fucking piece of shit. Who?
Yeah, but like
this was eventually going to happen to. Doesn't make it right.
Michael Brown was just walking to church. He was
Yeah,
going to college.
Yeah, he was about to start college on Monday.
Definitely
Just going over to Nana's house.
rob a convenience store.
Yeah, strong arm around the convenience store 15 minutes earlier.
That
We're
part
like,
gets
"Dude."
that part gets washed away pretty quick. I mean,
And
Crump will
my
show
favorite
up.
part of that story when they were like, but that cop didn't know he strong armed that store 15 minutes ago. I'm like, yeah, but Michael Brown fucking knew it.
Yeah.
And he didn't know what the cops did or did not know.
Whatever happened to his boy that was with him? Where,
Oh, yeah.
What happened? To him? Was it what Dorian or something? I can't-
Dorian. Yeah, Dorian Johnson.
Yeah,
Nice.
Just pulled that one out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What happened to that guy?
He's working at a firm somewhere. He's handling your 401k.
Yeah,
Is
right.
it the Rainbow Coalition?
Man.
Guys, this is so much fun.
Yeah, buddy.
It's so good to see you guys.
Likewise.
Thank you for coming in. Why don't we wrap it up here? We've gone a little over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And we got to go shooting one of these days.
We're doing it.
Then we can talk them into
for
a little
sure.
extra content. Exclusive content.
Yeah, we could do
excuse
that
me.
where they can really unleash
Yeah, I was
too.
going to say. Then you can say what you really think.
Patreon members.
Patreon members. Gotta love. Thank you guys. Chris and Mike Cracchiola, it's always great to see you, man.
buddy.
You guys are just salt of the earth. By the way, I did want to finish that. I hope you guys are feeling it from the public more.
We are. I am. Are
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely not this way. God bless the people who are in the Vietnam area who are not feeling it.
Yeah.
We are now, and it's amazing, especially in a state like this. I mean, if you want to wear a uniform and have somebody call you, watch the who's the guy like Kobayashi? He was a lieutenant colonel reservist in Step Brothers, the actor. He
Not
did it.
Will. John C. Riley?
Yeah, Riley. Yeah. No, not John C. Riley. The guy that was like Kobayashi, like International Waters, bite your dick off. That guy, hilarious comedian. He did a bit at Berkeley.
Rob Riggle.
Rob Riggle.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. He was a Marine.
He was,
Yeah,
and he did a bit at Berkeley where he just wore a wig and went protest with some people at Berkeley about the Marines being there. Dude, it's a lot different world now than it was, and I'm thankful for that. If you want to catch some heat, go to Berkeley, I guess.
Yeah.
But everywhere else I've been, Barring a couple, it has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
So
I'll
I
say
really,
this: since probably 2015, you get way more people coming up saying thanks.
Yeah.
Since I've been doing
I
this.
wave at every cop I pass on the road.
Way more. And I tell the guys all the time, there's so much support out there.
Yeah.
And the second they get an opportunity to say hi, they do.
Yeah.
It's there.
I want to retire and be a cop in Franklin, man.
Oh, yeah. That's the gravy
what if
train.
we
The
do
problem
levels
is you
here?
got to be the best of the best. There's
I
only
was gonna say, there's only 2 of them, man. So you got to wait till one of them dies.
you know,
One of them's listening right now.
we only have the top cops in the world. We only hire 2.
Dude, what a
Although
great place to
the
work.
chick's gone now.
Yeah, she used to pull me over, and I'd be like, I'd roll down the window, and she'd pull me over for speeding, and I'd just open the window and just be like, I know, I'm an asshole. And she'd be like, get out of here.
Yeah, I heard she was a good time. Well, she's no longer here.
Yeah.
Oh, what'd you hear? Extra content.
We'll save that one.
Yeah, we'll save
Talk
that
about
one.
that at the range.
All right, guys. Yeah, we'll talk about it at the range. But thank you again for so much for coming in. Thank you both for your service to this
Absolutely.
great nation, man.
Thank you, God. Appreciate it.
Talk to you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yep.